Sunset waved goodbye to Kara and Pinky, setting her car back on the road to Sukiku Corner Cafe. The time she spent with Pinky passing out food at the homeless shelter had earned the Knickerbocker the eternal gratitude of those who were housed at the shelter as well as the admiration of several staff members. But for Sunset and Pinky, it had been slightly different. Sunset never realized it, but the homeless shelter was in a former warehouse just a block from the place where she used to live. If I had been smart instead of a stubborn jackass, I'd been in a better position. Maybe the staff would have changed my life. I could have been a normal girl sooner instead of just a little wannabe terrorist with mommy issues. I need to send another letter to Celestia, tell her how much I love her. Official or not, she'll always be a mother to me. Sunset felt a tear slide down her cheek and she chuckled. Back before her change of heart, she came across the book Heather Has Two Mommies, and laughed her ass off about the child who was raised by two lesbians, while her own life was vastly different from the fictional Heather. Sunset now had to admit she had two mothers, one that raised her and the one raising her now. I wonder if I could contact the author and interest in her in creating Sunset Has Two Mommies. I know I'd buy a copy. She thought with a chuckle, getting on the interstate and heading towards her destination. Letting that moment come automatically made her wonder briefly about ponies on Earth and her new duty, assigned to her by the princess, that pony kind's ambassador to Earth. If she was ever successful, that would mean her own kind would be here. But would they be here as humans or ponies? Somehow they were in their native form. How would humans react to them? Technically, there were already ponies here on Earth long before she, or Musical Allegra, that story was true. But they were nothing like she was, and in truth, taking her more than once, she had adjusted to the non-sapiens of horses on Earth. Applejack had teased her briefly that the flame-haired girl could probably make a fortune being a natural matchmaker. A whisper, the term went, but that fell flat the moment Sunset explained that ponies could speak English, or Equus as he called it, natively. I'll have to see about Twine sending me a biology book, then heading up to the library for a copy of a horse anatomy book. I don't wonder how much my anatomy has evolved from the equine baseline. I could write a paper on this and win the Nobel Prize. Before she could imagine the pack given to all the Nobel Prize like Cat sitting on her shelf, she had to do the paper first. Something to think about when I get home. She mused as he got off the freeway and steered towards Cuckoo Corner. There was fortunately a parking space in front, with Sunset immediately mopping her eyes. She got out of her car and went over to the doorway, opening it. Hey, I'm here. Oh, thank you. Sunset was immediately enveloped in a hug by Blossom Wharf. I've been worse than useless today, and I'm glad I got reinforcements. You're not worse than useless, dear, Cut said from where she was busily opening another box. It's just that there's not much you could do while we're a child. Except waddle to and fro and had to stop because of the wait. Blossom Wharf commented glumly. I feel worse than useless. The baby's heavy and I just want to get this pregnancy done with and not have another kid for at least a decade. Don't worry, I'm here. Besides, you'll be at home starting next week, right? You should be fine. You won't have to worry about the stuff the rest of us do. And when it's all over, you'll have the cutest little kid, and I'll have access to a kid that I get to spoil rotten. You better not, Blossom Wharf laughed. I'll still have to take care of her at night. Maybe, Sunset said with a wink. Now, let me get to those boxes, because Secret Corner can't stay closed forever. Though admittedly it was on her own time, Shirley loved volunteering at her local library while school was out. It let her keep in touch with her first true love, books. It let her learn the latest in librarian sciences from the head librarian, Worthy Tome. And he wasn't bad looking either. With his sandy blonde hair and pink eyes, he reminded her of a weathered older version of one of her former students, Macintosh Apple. Yes, she found one of her students attractive. She was young but not stupid, and never went beyond anything professional. But Tom was a different story. He was a reluctant divorcee, his wife having left him for another guy that she moved to with South Carolina. He was a single father, and his daughter, Bookmark, was absolutely adorable. And she and Tom much like the same things, and Miss Charity? Charity looked down to see mango juice. She was the daughter of Tropical Punch, and lived across the street and ran the smoothie salon, the smoothie bar that seemed to rival Cuckoo Corner Cafe in terms of after-school student population. Despite being a single mother, Tropical managed to raise her children well. Thus it was odd seeing little Mango alone, because he was usually either here with her mother or her older sister, Cherry Cider. Yes, sweetie, what can I do for you? Shirley asked. Amusing, Cherry, Mango asked. I was looking at the computers while she was looking at the books, but that was 2 hours ago. And then when I went back, I didn't see her. Sir Car's still in the parking lot, so she still has to be here. Would you like me to try calling her phone? Shirley asked. Mango nodded and gave Shirley's phone a number. Shirley dialed it, and a second later, a buzzy sound came from the lost and found drawer. Shirley opened it and found a phone buzzing with the number of the library on the screen. Holding up the phone, Shirley asked, Did anyone find this? Another librarian, Shirley Chatterton. Yeah. I found it on a shelf in the science section. Shirley looked at Mango, did the chapter, then with a horrified look on her face, it clicked. Chapter, call 911. The other woman got it instantly. What are you? Call 911 now! Shirley shouted as he folded over the counter, sprinted as much as he could, and rushed upstairs to the science section to see a card sticking out of the chemistry books. Carefully, Shirley removed the book from the place and opened the tome, looking at the insert. Worthy Tome was right behind her. Cops are on the way here, Tome told her. What did you find? A worried look on her face. Shirley motioned towards the book in hand. Nestled on the page was the card 17. The star. Uh-oh. Actually, I was worried for Shirley for a bit. Kenazone watched the Cherry Cider's blood, now a brutal acid, burned away at the wall. She'd been wearing a protective suit, as he hadn't had the serum yet. The same went for Medley. Clontaro, who in her altered form, as she called it, and most of her clothing burned away, was otherwise unharmed. Several globs of the dead girl's blood still sizzling away at her. Medley sighed. Something wrong, Med? Clontaro asked. Well, we're going to have to tell Princey Baby that we need another girl, Medley commented. And now she's dead, and I can't sleep with her. Kazuo facepalm. What's the obsessive with sex, Med? Hey, just because you don't think about getting any doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a healthy sex drive, Nancy. I mean, did you see her body? I have fun all night. Now poor little me ain't getting none. You're a whore, Med, and proud of it. Look, you two, clean this up, Clontaro ordered, changing her back to her human form, grabbing a towel. I'm going to have to take a shower, and then explain this to the prince. After you're done, Nancy, you dispose of the body, complete with Joker card. Don't get caught. Ben, you report to the medical labs. Apparently they have your serum tailored to you. The captain wants to go over to transfer Mason to make sure it'll be okay. Maybe she just wants a peek at the goods. Med, shut up. Aye, Alto, Medley replied with a flippant salute. Charles shook her head and instead walked through the wall. Now it was magic to allow them through, and into the gym shower room, where she threw herself into one of the stalls. A few minutes later, of washing off Cherry's blood, was outside the scrolled room and referred back to the original chemistry was now nothing more than biological waste. Besides, getting back to cleanliness made her feel better anyway. Going back to her locker, she slipped on one of the new uniforms, glad that without the body armor it merely looked like an industrial style of fashion rather than military attire. With that done, she left the gym and walked over to Defiant's office, where he was watching what looked like to be a hologram of a hurricane off the coast of San Diego. A second later, she realized it wasn't a photometric display, but a magical view of the sky area in that area. Fascinating, isn't it? He told her, leaning over the desk, his long violet hair blown by a wind that seemed to come from the scene. A scrying spell that lets me watch my latest creation. In a few days, that hurricane should be here, and we can harness its natural energies to prepare for the next phase of the spell. That's above my pay grade, sir, Clontaro says she watched the scrying spell in action. As she got close enough, she could almost feel the pressure change in the air, and sprayed the water from the storm itself. I'll just dispatch the service. A fine dispatch service you are, petty officer. Now I presume you're here to report. Yes, sir. The girl, Cherry Cider, was not a virgin. We're disposing of her body as per Joker protocol, but we need the next name on the list. I see. A shame that, but I suppose I cannot control which girls do not have the mental and spiritual fortitude to keep themselves pure from merit. I don't know how to make it punishable by death once I am emperor of all. One never knows when a verdict is needed. Leaving the screen, he walked over to a wall where he had a list of names on it whose title was the star. Possible star links are as follows, and I quote: cherry cider, marked out; lemon zest, possible; tennis matum, check; rainbow, well, rainbow dash will be fine; sassy sadness, given link; and perfect kiss. Only get a pony fuck, people. Only get a pony fuck. Knowing the next name on the list, he raised his hand and cast a summoning spell. A cabinet on the other side of the room opened, and a dossier folder departed, flying over to Contraro. This is all the editors I have on the next girl. Divine told the siren. Capture her at once. Yes, sir, Contraro replied, saluting and turned away. As he left, Divine turned his attention back to the view of the hurricane. Slowly but surely, winding its way up the California coast. Soon, I will have all the power in the world, and I will surpass my father of fathers, just as he intended, and then I will rule as a god, and there will be none that can stop me. I will be everlasting. Meanwhile, back with Sunset. Well, it was a long day, but now I could go home and relax. Sunset mused as he waved goodbye to Cup and Blossom Forth. I was waiting for her father to pick her up. It had been an exhausting day of back-breaking, moving, and unpacking boxes. But it had been worth it in the end, as it would get both Sugar Cube Corner and the Knickerbocker back in business. Admittedly, it probably could have been done a long time ago if she had used her magic. But there was something satisfying about doing it the human way, of a little muscle grease. But now as the sun finally began to sink over the horizon, as she got into her car again for the trip home, she dialed her phone quickly. Hi, Mom, it's me. Is there anything at home to eat? Been busting my butt all day and I'm starved. Sir, I was just making bedrock for tonight. You want me to save you some? Please. I'm so hungry I could eat a whole cow by myself. I'm glad none of no cows in this world can complain about that sort of thing. Though the ones back home could probably complain up a storm. Do you need me to pick up anything at the store? No, Sonny. As much as I'd love you to pick me up some wine, you're not old enough. Trust me, Mom, you'd be surprised about that. And I'm sure you know how to get away with it, dear. But I'm supposed to set a good example for you. So I'll have to pass on that. Besides, it's sunset out. I need my sunset home, got that? Yeah, crappy puns and all. Sunset laughed. All part of the family. See you soon. Yep. Ending the call, she plugged her phone into the power jack, got ready to drive off. Whoa! There it is again. But this time I can't risk checking. Damn it! She started the car, cued the headlights, and got on the road, feeling the throbbing of strange magic through her. So she couldn't do another investigation this time. She mentally analyzed it and had a sick feeling. Feels like a lot of time I was corrupted by the failure of the element of magic. So it could be dark magic. But that should be impossible, as the only magic thing here on the planet is me. But then she remembered the mirror of Cavalvanti. It was still in town. They promised me they would shield the mirror from further magical effects, so none of Raz's magic could make it over here by accident, Sunset mused. But Raz may not be the only dark magic user in Equestria. Most likely not in all of Equus. So if they did an individual block spell, it only prevent her spells from making it over, not anyone else's. Well, you knew this wasn't something you could solve with a song and dance in 30 minutes, no matter how much life seems like that, she said to herself. This isn't Equus, this is Earth. Which means that whatever it has potential to be a problem if I don't figure it out. I can only hope the short term isn't really doing any harm, or at least anything I can't fix. I hope. Meanwhile, back with Octavia. Girls, it's dinner time. She heard her odd call from downstairs. Octavia fell to her knees, insides quivering like she had never had before. She felt a sensation rip through her, and now her body was throbbing like a heartbeat on overdrive. Without even pausing to wonder why, instinct drove her back to her bedroom to get a change of clothing, then to the bathroom. Mind racing, she only managed to get off half her clothing and threw herself in the shower. A second later, she had the presence of mind to remove her now soaked socks and bra. Once again, I want to enjoy naked women, but I can't. A knock came through the door as he called back, "Open the shower! I'll be down in a bit!" "Okay, I'll let Mom know," Twilight called back, and Octavia breathed a sigh of relief as he sank into the bathtub. And the steady, warm rain in the shower head spraying on her. Another sensation ripped through her again as he bit off a scream. The sensation throbbed around her crotch and her mind went into overdrive. "I'm not due for another week unless I'm starting." Another feeling, this time pain, ripped through her once more as she whimpered. She usually never felt it like this. She was one of the types of women who barely noticed this time of month at all. She looked down. It was everything she could do to prevent herself from screaming. Sure enough, she was bleeding, if what she was seeing could be called blood. Instead, a black, syrupy ichor poured from her body, looking less like blood and like a thick ficus oil. A stench hit her. The smell of burnt hair filled her nostrils. The screaming sounded through her, within her. She closed her eyes and prayed whatever she was feeling would stop. She opened her eyes again, and the pain was gone. She was lying naked in the tub with no sign of anything that had happened. There was no sense or anything out of the ordinary. A knock on the door. "Tavi, you okay?" This time it was Sunset. "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll be out shortly," she called back. "I hope so. I've been waiting for about an hour for you to come out of the bathroom so we can eat together." Octavia blinked. An hour? She suddenly realized that the warm water from earlier had now turned cold. Only possible if the water had been completely exhausted of its storage. Getting out of the shower, she noticed her skin had shriveled like a prune, another indicator of long-time water exposure. How long have I? Meanwhile, elsewhere, Dusty Rose opened the door and screamed. There, standing at the door, was a man, dressed in black and wearing a Venetian jester mask. He was also carrying what looked like to be several knives. He lunged at her. As she raced into the house and darted behind the couch, she picked up a lamp and threw it at him, as he dodged. But he failed to dodge the second projectile, which hit square in the face. Bronze plate that her parents had picked up in Morocco years prior. While he clutched the ground, she took his hands and ran to the house, screaming at the top of her lungs. The man came after her anyway, screaming, "Stop!" Her mind in a panic, she raced around the coast and out of the house, rushing towards the next door neighbors. Oakleaf was big for his age. Though he was just 14, he was equally bigger than people years older than him. And he was a shoo-in for a football team. In fact, he was hoping he'd make the football team. If anything, just so he could press Dusty Rose, the girls next door. He had a thing for Dusty for the longest time, and though he'd probably already gone out with a couple of girls his age, it didn't dull his feelings for his neighbor. But when he heard her scream, he rushed down the stairs for his bedroom like his life depended on it. Her screams indicated he was in trouble. So long as he breathed the air, nobody was going to hurt his Dusty. He clicked the front door in record time, just to see her reach their property. "The killer!" She screamed. "He's after me!" "Get in the house and call 911. Unc told her. He then saw the black-haired figure emerge from the home. "I'll deal with this." Before she could stop him, his bravado and testosterone already mixing with his adrenaline, Oak rushed towards the wall of tin and forest green, slamming the figure like a high-speed train. The black-robed figure went down, and Oak pressed his advantage, punching down right into the man's face, cracking the heavy ceramic jester mask. The guy, however, kicked Oak to the nuts and the poison went down, the man screaming, "Wait, you fucking stupid! This was just a BLAM! BLAM!" Shots rang out from the gun held by Oak's mother, who retrieved her husband's spare gun and fired in defense of her son. The shouting figure staggered her back, but a third and final shot from her finally dropped it, even as several police cars descended on the area. The first of which was Roadways. "Everyone get back!" he roared as he pulled out his sidearm and rushed towards the downed individual. On the corner of his eye, you could see a cop from the Everfree Glades Police Department pull up and move into a corner position behind his open door. Nodding to the ETPD cop, Roadway moved toward until he got close and kicked away the knife. Only to realize... Wait, the knife's rubber? Oh shit! Bending forward, he pulled off the cracked mask, revealing a Bogafov mask with still eyes and an open mouth from which blood dripped out of the corner. Pulling out the mask, he looked sick and worried. It's just a kid. Fucking kid. A second later, he realized it was one of Dusty Rose's friends. He looked by his neighbor's front door to see his son, who had crawled in for safety once his assailant had been shot. When he survived the pain, he looked at his father and then to the victim. Shit, that's Dusty's ex-boyfriend, he said, turning to look at Dusty. It was looking out with something in her eyes akin to admiration. It's something else. Get her in the house, son. She doesn't need to see this. Oak nodded, turned over to his mother and Dusty rose, ushering him inside. Road Race stared at what now was obvious. A dumb teen playing a stupid prank during the worst time. Now he paid for it in the worst way possible. The ETPD cops had joined the CHP officer. Is it sad I figured this was going to happen at Camelot, not here? He asked Roadway. Stupidity happens everywhere, Roadway responded. And it's never pretty when it goes south fast. Meanwhile, back with Octavia. Octavia, now wearing her sweat shivered. Thanks, she says, Twilight put a blanket over her. No problem. But what were you thinking? Taking a shower for 90 minutes, Twilight asked. Honestly, I didn't think it was that long, Demetrius replied. To me, it felt like a couple of minutes went by, no more than 5 tops. Well, don't do that again, Twilight scolded. You could have given yourself hypothermia. Thanks, not the science, Octavia snarked. Seriously, though, are you okay? Sunset asked. She remembered when Twilight had gone through something similar, and had torn Sunset apart to watch her sister go through it. Now, if her cousin was suffering the same thing, it would be the absolutely worst possible thing to experience again, especially now while serial killers stalk the streets of Canterlot. I'm fine. And I know what you're thinking, Sonny. I was cleared, remember? I'm not going through anything that's offending me. Besides, I have you two and my friends if something happens. Ironically, I'm in a better position than when Twilight suffered what happened to her. Twilight sat down next to her cousin and wrapped her in an embrace. You know we're always here for you, Twavy. A second later, Sunset sat down on the other side and did the same thing. Extracting her arms from the blanket, she hugged them both, and the three stayed in an embrace for several minutes. Well, Octavia yawned. I think that extra cold shower drained me, so I'm going to bed. Yeah, I've had a long day myself, Sunset added, so I think I'll turn in as well. Hey, I have an idea, Twilight said, standing up and taking off her clothing. If we just strip down to panties and bras tonight, we can let our body heat to toffee and get her warmed up pretty quick. That's to get her hot in no time flat. Sunset and Octavia looked at Twilight, then to each other, then back to Twilight, before both teens facepalmed at the same time. Twilight, would it kill you to think about what you say just once? Octavia groaned. Oh, once again, I can't even enjoy that thought. They're sisters and cousins! Meanwhile, for the 15th time, Tropical Punch opened the door, eyes strained with tears, and looked outside in the hopes her daughter would come home early. The police had been here earlier to tell her about Cherry's disappearance from the library and her possible abduction by the Dead Hand Killer. The detective that spoke to her had assured her that he wouldn't rest until Cherry was found. What he hadn't said was that to date, none of the abductees was found alive again, and the news had borne that out. Tropical still held out hope for her older daughter, but knew deep within that it was too late. She received several calls during the course of the day, Cherry's boyfriend, hoping she would be okay. Her parents, who said that he would be on the next flight over from Milwaukee. Of course, her ex, who in a rare display of actually giving a shit about his kids, told her he'd be driving down from Seattle immediately. All of them were worried. None of them truly knew the hell she was going through. Cherry was her oldest, dearest child, and a delight. Other than a boyfriend she had already assured he had gone all the way, Cherry was the perfect daughter, and better behaved than Tropical had ever been at that age. Now her younger daughter was staying with friends. All Tropical could do was the inevitable. Wait for news that Terry Sider was dead. It was hell. Absolute hell. It was the only thing she could do. She already failed as a mother, because she failed the most paramount thing a mother should do. Keep your children safe. Looking at the body bag before her, and the Joker card sitting on top of it, Tropical sank to her knees, opened her mouth, and screamed all the pain and rage in the world. Elsewhere, blazing star looked at the nighttime sky. Out here on the Badlands stations for the Royal Astronomers Guild, she could see whole galaxies, constellations, and stars that were part of the bounty that was Princess Luna's gift to Ponykind. She heard that once, ponies had shunned the nighttime sky, and had turned Princess Luna into Nightmare Moon. Looking up at the velvety constellations of diamonds above, she couldn't see how. It was an utter thing of beauty that had taken her breath away more than once. Which is why she offered to do a third straight tour of the remote station, instead of heading back to Camelot to turn in her newest paper. This was the perfect time to test the theory anyway. That other dimensions didn't exist. Sure, they ran counter to the standard of their metaphysical theories. The star had a theory that the other dimensions were actually other galaxies in the universe. Of course, that could also mean that aliens existed on other worlds. But, pulp fiction aside, if Equus was a world capable of multiple sentient species, what about the variety of potential life beyond this world? It could be the paper of her life, or the end of her career. After all, it was hard enough being an Earth pony studying science that usually only unicorns dealt in. But the fact that she seemed to outstrip many of her peers had made her quite a few enemies over the course of the years. Perhaps she could have it pitched directly to Princess Luna, maybe with that. She had a chance of being utterly humiliated by her peers. Besides, the princess might even point her to the right direction. Does she see something from the world of magic? Star heard the creaky A's voice behind her. She tried to see a wizened creature of a type she never cast her eyes before. It looked to be dragged in rags. It was similar in form to a pony, save that he seemed to have horns and arms like a minotaur as well. Can I help you? Star asked. Perhaps the pony can, the creature said in that reedy voice. Perhaps the pony realizes the dangers he is in. Or perhaps not. I'm sorry, is there something the matter? The Earth Mare asked, suturing eyes darting to and fro. Sir, it is some pony dangerous nearby. Perhaps you should come in. The season has lace and anti-changeling sealing. Indeed, the pony does not, the creature said with a malevolent smile, and then opened its mouth, inhaling. Inexplicably, golden air seemed to rip away from Blazing Star, burning towards the creature as the Earth pony tried to wrap her mind what was going on. She turned to run, but as she did, each movement seemed to stretch longer, hurt more, as she had just run hundreds of miles in a never-ending marathon. By the time she completed her turn, each of her muscles seemed to strain with complete and utter exhaustion, as she found it hard to stand up. A second later, she slumped to the ground, completely and utterly spent. That will do nicely, the creature said. Out of the corner of her eye, Blazing Star could see the beast moving with more agility and speed, as if whatever he drew in had given him new vim and vigor. The pony doesn't even comprehend that it was the first in the path towards giving Tirak what he needed. The creature then laughed vilely, a brutal, shrill crackle that made Star's ache. Oh, but there's still the pony to deal with. Even though her magic is gone, she could still be a threat. She saw as he reached behind him, bringing out a black steel dagger. It blocked and looked twisted and corroded, as if it made from a changeling's horn. It had glowing and purple-green lettering on it, though she could not comprehend the language. He must enter, if there's any chance for the plan to succeed. No, she whispered, unable to say more. Please, I have a husband and Philly back at Camelot. That is not his problem. T-Rex said, thrusting the dagger. And once again, T-Rex, another for the... Since I have the ability to know what the characters don't know, and I have outside viewing, I would have been able to solve this case easily with my outside fourth wall powers. List. Seriously, people, have you ever heard yourselves when you make these complaints? You always talk about how you wouldn't know these things when the characters wouldn't in the world, because you have outsider knowledge. Meanwhile, back with Sunset. Sunset could feel herself again as the demon, but it was 1,000 times worse. Nothing could have been worse than this. The right hand of her demonic form had punched through the girl, now dying, and had gone out the other end. She could hear herself laughing, but within she was screaming, "No, this isn't me! This isn't me anymore!" Sunset yelled, but to no avail. The girl looked at her head, and the moment Sunset saw her face, she shrieked even more in terror, even as her left demonic arm moved towards the girl's face. Twilight and Sparkle looked at her sister, blood dripping down her mouth as an oversized red hand clamped over it. "Will you die for me?" Twilight asked. Seconds before the fist ripped her head from the body, Sunset nearly threw herself out of bed, panting hard, her heart beating in her chest like a new wave drum machine from the 80s. She looked out the corner of her eye and noted the time, 3 in the morning, but forgot it as she could still hear the demonic laughter of her demon form in her mind. "I killed Twilight. I know I didn't, but in the dream She heard the toilet flush in the bathroom stall down the hall, the turning on the faucet, and doors opening and closing again, as... "Sis?" Sunset turned to see Twilight's form, lit by the moonlight, standing in the doorway. "Why are you on the floor?" Sunset didn't say anything, but instead got to her feet and wordlessly hugged her sister. "Bad dream?" "Yeah," Sunset said, burying her face in her sister's shoulder. "Like the ones I used to have when I got here." She lied, knowing full well that this one was far different. Twilight pulled away from the hug to look her sister in the eyes. "Sonny, you know that..." "I know. Maybe it's just my mind at work. I mean, we have 22 days and a wake-up before it's official? Of course, it's just my mind working overtime." Since I gave Twilight a smile, "I mean, I finally really get to be a part of this family, Twilight. That alone means the world to me." "You're wrong, Sonny. You've always been a part of us. All this does is just put it down on paper." Twilight leaned over and kissed her sister on the cheek. "Now come on, let's go get some sleep, okay?" The hurricane continued to move on, its winds buffeting the Southern California coast like the blows of a dam. Those who were stepping outside swore it sounded not like the howling of wind, but like the scream of a banshee. Hundreds of miles to the north, a man laughed in full, knowing that his next step towards the rightful rule of the world was soon to be at hand. All the pieces were finally in place. Meanwhile... Damn it, I'm late! Stupid car! Lemon Zest, I hope you people weren't too attached to her. We're on to see parked at the After Midnight Club. It was the hottest club in town, and even for a place that had shit nightlife like Camelot did, it was still a decent place here and there. Currently, that decent place was After Midnight. Unfortunately, this wasn't going to be her night. She had broken up with her boyfriend a month ago, and now you heard that motherfucker was chasing after some high school piece of tail. That goddamn asshole. Still, part of her missed Tenderhoof, but she knew she shouldn't have gotten involved with him, especially not after he fucked over Sweet Orchard in order to date her. Sure, she didn't realize that until after the fact, but she should have picked up then what a flighty fuck he was. Besides, she should know better to date someone younger than her. The asshole was all nothing but hormones anyway. Fortunately, she had some friends she could rely on, and one of them, Cotton Fluff. There's several other guys she knew. It's a blind date, but she and Cotton were besties, and Lemon knew her best friend wasn't going to screw her over like this. Of course, there was no way Lemon knew she was going to have a flat tire while on her way home from Colton. Her phone rang. "Yeah, Lemon here." "Lemmy, where the fuck are you?" "I had a car problem," she growled at the phone. "Already having a fucked up night, okay? I just want to get into the club, have a few drinks, then go the fuck home. She waved her driver's license in front of the bouncer. I gave her a cursory look before waving her on. Well, fortunately for you, I just got a text for your mystery date. He's still in there, waiting for you. He is? Lemma looked at the clock on her phone. He was 2 hours late, and no reasonable person will wait that long. Either he's the perfect guy or a stalker. Probably a stalker with her luck. Yeah, trust me, he's a total sweetie that really likes you. I'm surprised he's waiting. Well, he better be good. If he isn't, then fancy dinners on me tomorrow, okay? I'll hold you to that, Cotton. Go have fun and tell me all about it later. Bye. Hanging up, Lemon slipped into her phone into her clutch purse and wandered through the second set of doors. Into the throbbing, techno-filled density of the After Midnight Club. A dozen colors radiated from the lights above, while neon was everywhere and bodies moved and swayed to both music and passion. Lemon felt completely in her element at that moment. Hey, I'm what you want, not what you need. Fuck the asshole Tenderhoof. Why don't we head to a concert at the Music Cave? Indie hipster motherfucker. Glad he's gone. She sauntered over to the bar, and the moment she got there, she ordered a beer, making sure she looked good. Or at least as good as I'm going to look while recovering from a flat tire. The bartender had just passed her the beer when a woman about her age came up, dressed in jeans and pants. She looked like a Native American. It was burly enough at first glance he could have passed for a guy. Oh, I hope this isn't my date. God, what the hell did you do? Excuse me, are you Lemon Zest? Lemon sighed. Yeah, that's me. You my date? The girl grinned, pointing to the second floor. She said, No, actually, he's waiting up there for you. I just happened to be a friend of his. Here with some friends. He came down for another round. Told him I'd look out for you while I was down here. The woman just signaled to the bartender. Thanks. Stairs are that way? She asked, pointing to a dark area. Yeah, got it in one. She said, turning to the bartender, giving her order. Do you want me to wait for you? Nah, the other woman said. Don't worry about me. I'll probably be here a bit. Just go ahead. Oh, that's right, you don't have the passkey, do you? Passkey? The areas upstairs are probably acceptable. You have to have a key card to get through. She reached into her pocket and fixed out a plastic rectangle. Here, take mine. You sure? The woman waved it off. Yeah, I could just have one of my friends go open it for me. Now get going. He's really cute. If you don't move fast, one of the other girls is gonna make their move. On it! On her cheers, she walked off into the darkness. But she did. She got to the plastic security key. Odd. I wonder why it has a star and the number 17 on it. I wonder if it's an intro that I'm not getting. I hope you folks aren't really attached to Lemon Zest. I really hope.